They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Got tips and tricks, energy through the roof. It just can't be missed. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Call of Duty, GoldenEye, got the golden gun. Shoots one shot and the shot is done. Star Wars, RoboCop, this is just a few, but it ain't even close to everything that he can do. All this energy and entertainment in one single person. So much content in one single day. And it's only getting better, never worse. He could play anything, and you know it'd still be fun. Got so many ideas, but you know he's just begun. Call of Duty, GoldenEye, got the golden gun. Shoots one shot and the shot is done. Star Wars, RoboCop, this is just a few, but it ain't even close to everything that he can do. Him, Mr. Manson, live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Better watch if you ain't watching already. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. They call him Mr. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Got tips and tricks, energy through the roof. It just can't be missed. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Call of Duty GoldenEye, got the golden gun. Shoots one shot and the shot is done. Star Wars, RoboCop, this is just a few, but it ain't even close to everything that he can do. All this energy and entertainment in one single person. So much content in one single day, and it's only getting better, never worse. He could play anything, and you know it'd still be fun. Got so many ideas, but you know he's just begun. Call of Duty GoldenEye, got the golden gun. Shoots one shot and the shot is done. Star Wars, RoboCop, this is just a few, but it ain't even close to everything that he can do. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. They call him Mr. Manson. Live stream starting up. It's so fantastic. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Got tips and tricks, energy through the roof. It just can't be missed. Better watch if you ain't watching already. Call of Duty GoldenEye, got the golden gun. Shoots one shot and the shot is done. Star Wars, RoboCop, this is just a few, but it ain't even close to everything that he can do. All this energy and entertainment in one single person.
How is it going, you beautiful, beautiful people? Yours truly, Mr. Manson, in the flesh, coming with some Castlevania, Lament of Innocence. This is technically the first game in the Castlevania series. This is the most underrated game in the Castlevania series. And undeniably, it's the best Castlevania game in this series, and I don't give a fuck what you say. Ladies and gentlemen, similar to Soul Blade, picking this up at my local game store. No box. But we have the beauty That is Castlevania, Lament of Innocence. On the PlayStation 2, made by Konami. Let's get into this. Like, sub, comment, punch notification bell in the scrotum if you like what you're about to see. Share with your friends, share with your family, share with your neighbor, share with your fucking neighbor's dog, because that fucking boy wants to watch too. Y'all stay frosty.
In an era long past, as monarchies weaken, local feudal lords grew in power. The first knights simply protected their lords' domains. However, with the reforms of the late 11th century, knights became protectors of the peace. They valued courage and honor, fighting heretics and heathens in God's name. In this age, one company of knights was said to be invincible due to two men. Leon Belmont, a courageous man who feared nothing and whose combat abilities were second to none, and Matthias Kronqvist, a genius tactician whose learning made him an exception in a largely illiterate society. They trusted each other completely, and they were bound by an old friendship. However, sorrow awaited Matthias upon his return from a victorious campaign. It was news of the sudden death of his beloved wife, Elisabetta. Matthias's grief was profound, and he became bedridden. A year has passed since then. Thanks to Leon's efforts, their company remains proudly undefeated. However, a mysterious army of monsters suddenly appears in Leon's domain. The Crusades are raging in the east, and since the Church is focusing on fighting heathens rather than monsters, it has forbidden unauthorized battles. Leon wants permission to sortie, but the Church has no intention of granting it. One night, Matthias struggles from his sickbed and tells Leon that the appearance of the monsters is tied to a vampire who has a castle in the forest called Eternal Night, and that Leon's betrothed, Sarah, has been kidnapped and brought to that castle. Leon realizes that he must renounce his title to rescue his beloved. The forest is swollen with darkness, as if it would rob away everything, and only moonlight provides a ray of hope. A great legend is about to begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Castlevania, Lament of Innocence. I have been wanting to play this game on live stream probably just about as long as anybody else who is a true Castlevania fan, I should say. Because you can be a fan of Castlevania and not like this game. Which, that's fine. That's fair. But you're wrong. Look at that. Just enough space. Alright. Let's fucking do this, ladies and gentlemen. Castlevania Lament of Innocence.
What just happened? I felt something strange.
Ah, he must really like you. You won't be able to leave now.
Who's there?
Now, don't get so excited. I'm just an old man. I just came to gawk at the man crazy enough to come here.
You don't seem like a monster.
Of course not. What is your name?
Leon.
Leon. You're not Baron Leon Belmont.
Just Leon Belmont. I have given up my title. And you, old man?
Pardon me, Lord Belmont. My name is Rinaldo Gandolfi.
You can call me Leon, and I will call you Rinaldo. Don't call me Lord. We're equals now.
As you wish. Now, please follow me to my cottage. I want to talk to you. Wait here a moment. There's something I want to give you.
Rinaldo, can I ask you something?
What is it?
Why are you living in a place like this?
I have unfinished business with Walter Bernhard, the master of this forest.
Unfinished business?
Not worth mentioning. I owe him.
Well, I won't ask any more, but you're not in danger living so close to him?
It seems eternal life is extremely boring. He enjoys playing at cat and mouse with the hunters that come here, though, of course, there's no way that he could ever lose. He thinks that my helping hunters makes the game more fun.
I see. But what do you mean by there being no way he could lose?
Vampires are loved by the night, and this forest is locked in eternal darkness. He has never been defeated.
Well, that may be so, but I must go ahead and face him.
Did he take someone precious?
Yes, he abducted my betrothed. How did you know that?
It's what he always does when he starts the game. You came unarmed. Your courage astonishes me.
I do have a weapon, just not my sword. That belongs to the company, and I left it behind when I gave up my title.
Honest to a fault.
I heard that many hunters have met their end here. If that's the case, getting weapons shouldn't be hard.
Take this with you. It will help you against monsters.
What is this?
A whip made with alchemy. It's stronger than any dead man's discarded sword.
Alchemy. I'm not familiar with that word.
Not surprising. The field experiments with the principles of God's creation of the world. The only person who truly understands it is Matthias.
You know Lord Kronkvist?
I have known him longer than you have. His family has a book of secret arts, originally handed down orally.
Secret arts? I never knew.
Of course not. Only a handful of people in this world know about it. There are some who consider alchemy to be heresy.
I see.
Are you one of them?
No. If you are an acquaintance of Matthias, you are trustworthy. I will use this whip with gratitude.
Put your left hand out.
My left hand. Like this?
Don't move now. That should do it. You can put it down now.
What was that?
The gauntlet is enchanted now.
A spell?
Some enemies' attacks release a special power. If you block them with the gauntlet, you can gather that power.
What can I do with the gathered power?
You'll be able to use magical relics by releasing that power.
Magical relics?
Right. Those who excel in magic can use them. I have cast the spell so that you can use them as well. I have some. You should be able to obtain them in the castle as well.
I understand.
Right now, this is all I can do for you.
Ronaldo. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I forgot to tell you something. The door leading to his throne is guarded by 5 monsters.
So I will need to defeat them first.
That's right. That's essentially the test you must pass to fight him.
What a bothersome.
I told you before. To him, this is a game.
I realize that, but
If you have troubles, come back here anytime. They won't be free, but I'll keep potions on hand for you.
thank you. I appreciate it. Sarah, wait for me. I'm coming to save you.
welcome on in, goddess. This is Castlevania Lament of Innocence, but if you like Castlevania, you already know that. How's it going? Happy Sunday to you. Currently, right now, with my audio, I can only pick and choose between my voice and the game's audio. So, for some live streams, it'll be me chatting with you guys through chat, and I will have the game playing. So, welcome to the Manson Residence, Castlevania Lament of Innocence. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Really, really helps the channel out and become a part of one of the greatest gaming communities in history. Goddess says, that's alright, I'm good also. Fuck yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I am happy to hear that. Well, happy Sunday to you. Kick your feet up and get comfortable for one of the best Castlevania games, in my opinion, the best Castlevania game of all time. Let's do this. Absolutely. Welcome on in, Killer Hayes. My brother, my man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Killer Hayes. How is it going, brother? Oh my god. It's great to see you in here for some Castlevania Lament of Innocence. I apologize. Sometimes the game looks very, very, very fucking dark, and I don't know why that is. I'm not really sure if it's because I was fucking with my settings on Streamlabs, but it's definitely not as bright as it is on my screen. I tried turning up the brightness on my monitor, and that did not fucking matter. So, I apologize. But welcome on in, Killer Hayes. How's it going? Just trying to finish up this level of House of Sacred Remains so we can start up some Fortnite. Well, yes, welcome on in. How are you doing, brother? As you can see, I had to hide some people who just keep grinding my cock, man. It's the constant grindage of my cock, and I just didn't even deal with it. Didn't even really respond to it, like, out loud. Just left my messages in the chat there, and that's it. But on that note, I'm actually going to take like a quick fucking 2-minute break so I can grab myself a drink, because I'm fucking dying right now. I am fucking dying. But it's going great, man. I am having a great fucking time. Today is an awesome fucking day. I couldn't wait to bring this game to you beautiful people. I've only made a video of this level's House of Sacred Remains on my channel. Probably a lot better brightness quality on that video, that's for sure. But, no, today's going good. I'm glad you're doing good, brother. I'm happy to fucking be here. I can't wait to hop on some Fortnite and possibly some Grounded if I have the time, because I do have like 3. I won't get in 4, but I probably have 3 other live streams planned. So I only know how to change the brightness on OBS. Yeah, that's what everybody tells me. Everybody's like, man, I don't know how to help you. I only know how to change the brightness on OBS. I'm like, God fucking shit. As I've said before, nobody uses Streamlabs except for me, apparently. So, I don't know. Except for me. I'm the only one. Take your time. I was going to try and do VR stream. Oh, you're gonna do a VR stream, huh? Nice. What are you gonna VR? Oh, have you played the VR of the new Batman game that came out for VR? Dude, if you haven't tried that and you're an Arkham fan, you gotta try that game. It is so fucking awesome. I wish I had a VR headset of my own to bring it to my channel. So much fun, that game. You gotta try it, brother. Highly, highly recommended. Yeah, people like that don't deserve attention. No, they really don't. They really don't. And I'm not gonna give them the attention anymore. They have taken up too much space in my head, and it's not gonna happen anymore. So, like I just said, we're gonna take a quick 2-3 minute break here. I'll have chat up, so I'll respond to you and whoever comes in. Be sure to like, sub, comment. Anybody else, punch that notification bell in the scrotum if you haven't already. Share with your friends. Share with your family. And by God, share with your fucking neighbor's dog. Don't share with your neighbor, though. It's only if his dog likes it. And that tells you what kind of a man he is. Alright, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to continue on here with House of Sacred Remains. We're going to get through this, and we are going to destroy the first boss. We're going to fuck him in the ass. Well, we're not actually going to do that, but here's Johnny! Hell yeah, says T-Lizard. Welcome on in, everyone. It's Castlevania Laments of Innocence. Just responding to Killer. All right. There we go. Oh, I think he was meaning me, Uncle Larry. I think he was meaning for me to check my Discord messages. I sent you back the message, Killer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Castlevania: Lament of Innocence. Let's do it.
You've done well to come back. Is there anything you need? What would you like today? Is this okay? Would you like anything else? Is this fine? Yes, certainly. Is that all? What would you like? Is this fine? Yes, certainly. Is this okay? Yes, certainly. Is this fine? Would you like anything else? Anything else? Don't push yourself too hard.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is all I have time for you in this part of Castlevania Lament of Innocence. We got through the House of Sacred Remains. We're going to come back once we get the Yellow Dragon Key. So be sure to like, sub, comment, punch the notification bell, the scrotum for more Castlevania content. Thank you for coming on out. Fish Whisperer, Killer Haze, T-Lizard, Laura, God of Shadow, and anybody else watch us back as a VOD. Go check out Laura's Gaming Sports channel, Killer Haze. They got some great fucking content over on their respective sides. Share with your friends, share with your family, share with your neighbor, and by God, share with your neighbor's fucking dog. And I'll see you in the next one. Y'all stay frosty.